Hello, everybody, and welcome into a new video here on the Around the Slice YouTube channel. And the topic of today's video is I'm going to be giving you landing spots for the best remaining NFL free agents of 2024 cycle. Now, yes, the first few big initial waves of free agency have already hit. They have come and gone and passed us by, but there are still a lot of good free agents left on the board. So today I'm going to really dive deep at those. I got 40 to 50, at least 45 plus new, not new, but like remaining free agents, and I got landing spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go position by position. It's going to go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, etc. Just like that format. And I'll give you the team. I picked out one team because we would be here all day if I did more than one option. But I picked out one team that player could go to, and I see a realistic fit and need between the player and the team. And then I will break down why they would fit. And before I move on to the next player slash team, I will give you their current position group. So if I say like I have this running back going here, well, what is the current running back room of that team I have them going to, and how they would add to that? So let's just get started. Quarterback looking thin. We got Ryan Tannehill though. There's only one team and one team only. Some of these teams it's kind of hard to parse through. Like I could see like two or three. Again, I'm only going to give you one option, but in my doing my research over the last couple days, I could really see like two or three teams. Could this guy go to this team? This team. Ryan Tannehill is only one realistic option, in my opinion. I got the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos' current current QB room is Jarrett Stidham is the scheduled starter right now, and Ben DiNucci is the scheduled backup. And I don't think it sounds like the Vikings with picks 11 and 23 are going to trade up either for JJ McCarthy or Drake May. Probably JJ McCarthy, even though as much as I don't agree with it, and I'm not a JJ fan, McCarthy fan, they will trade up for him because they have two first round picks. I don't think the Broncos can trade up two first round picks. And as much as I love Bo Nix and as much as I love Michael Penix Jr., mainly talk about Bo Nix, I've seen some mocks. Number 12 is probably too high for him. Now, yes, could the Broncos trade all the way to the back end of the first round? Yeah, but at that point, why don't you just like take a defensive player? Maybe you can take a corner to pair with Pat Surtain, take an edge rusher to pair with Baron Browning. So yeah, I mean, Tannehill, like, we gotta upgrade man over Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci. Stidham's a fine backup, but that's what he's been his whole career. A few spot starts here and there, two or three over his career, mind you, but that's what he's been. And Ben DiNucci is a third string slash practice squad caliber QB. And he's really young still. So, I mean, Ryan Tannehill, be the bridge quarterback, and then next year you're going to be picking. I guarantee you, the Broncos will be picking at least in the top 10, if not the top 5. I'm just not high in this team. I think their front office is dysfunctional. I think they have a dysfunctional roster. Maybe it'll be better with the team chemistry now that Russell Wilson is out of there. But yeah, so I do have Ryan Tannehill going to the Broncos to be their bridge quarterback because looking rough there. Now that's the only quarterback. Running back. Now I have a few names here that aren't tricky. Ezekiel Elliott. Now, as much as I don't want this, I had Bills slash Cowboys because two landing spots that are basically, tied together, tied here, in my opinion, for landing spots. I'll start with the Bills. I thought I was targeting someone like a Dante Foreman, but he went to the Browns to pair with their good running back with Nick Chubb once he returns to full health, and Jerome Ford. Nyheim Hines is now apparently Dante Foreman. You still appear strong for special teams purposes. They got a loaded running back room over there. But for the Bills right now, it's James Cook is RB1. RB2 is Ty Johnson. Darrington Evans is RB3. I think James Cook is your clear starter. I think Ty Johnson is a great RB3. And then Bills don't carry four running backs, ever. Yeah, they bring what? 4 or 5 to camp, at least 5, but they don't carry for the 53 man. And Darrington Evans is practice squad caliber guy. So Zeke would give you the downhill rushing ability because James Cook only literally for the whole year had only 5 carries within the 5-yard line. He would get him down there, but then your goal line back would be like Josh Allen, Latavius Murray, but he broke down. Damon Harris, who, by the way, it's pretty sad that he has to retire because of a severe neck injury at 27 years old. Leighton Vander Esch as well. So that's why I have Zeke as a fit for the Bills. I've come around the idea after seeing us pass. Well, we didn't pass on Dante Foreman, but after seeing him go to the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, rather. Zeke, I've heard over the last couple weeks, especially trickling in when free agency opened, that Zeke and the Cowboys are open to a reunion. Obviously, nowhere near the monster deals before, but right now their current running back room is looking thin. Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and Malik Davis. I like Rico Dowdle, but I think he's an RB2. He hasn't really had production any like form of like tangible production before this past year, and that was when he's behind Tony Pollard, and Tony Pollard's gone. I like Deuce Vaughn going into year 2. He's electric at Kansas State, but he's 5'5". I mean, I'm not trying to be mean and insulting here, but the dude's 5'5". So what can you really expect? And then Malik Davis, he's a third/fourth string running back. Deuce Vaughn and Malik Davis are more change of pace guys anyway. So I think we need to get an RB1. So I think Zeke and Rico Dowdle splitting RB1. And then after that, you figure it out between Deuce Vaughn and Malik Davis, respectively. I think that would be not the highest on RB room in the world, but you can get by with that. Next, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is weird. I knew he would linger. I don't think he'll sign anyone where to like May, June. He's still really young, but he got replaced. It was always weird when the Chiefs took him at the first round pick coming off their Super Bowl, and then he got replaced by a 7th round pick a couple years ago, and Isaiah Pacheco, who's looking real good. But I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to the Colts. I mean, there are RB room behind obviously Jonathan Taylor. I still think he's a superstar in my opinion, but behind him, you just got guys here. You got Trey Sermon, who's before this year was a practice squad caliber guy. Evan Hull, who missed all his rookie year with like broken ribs, I think, or something of that nature. And then Tyler Goodson, who also is a third string, more like a practice squad caliber guy. So I think behind Jonathan Taylor, and then Jonathan Taylor's your RB1 probably, and then behind him, you can sort out Alaire, Sermon, Hall, and Goodson, and 1 or 2 of those guys can go to your practice squad, but you need something more behind Jonathan Taylor. I don't think anyone should sign CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, to be, a workhorse back because he's not built like frame for that. I don't think they should give him a volume guy, but a nice change. Jonathan Taylor can catch out of the backfield. It's not a strong suit, but he can. And I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, honestly, I think the only thing he does at a high level, he's not the best runner. The only thing he does at a high level is he has good hands and can catch it out of the backfield. So yeah. Cam Akers. Now, this is weird because he was supposed to be a restricted free agent, but the Vikings didn't put a tender on him because now they got Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, Kenan Nwangu for special teams purposes. They'll probably draft a guy in the mid rounds. They didn't need Cam Akers, but he's torn his Achilles 20. He's been in the league 4 years, and he's torn his Achilles twice, and he's not the biggest back to begin with. He fell out of favor there at the Rams. Him and Sean McVay just didn't jive, if you will. So, but Giants, I mean, they signed Devin Caldera. I think he will be the workhorse, but behind him, you just got like a practice squad caliber guy in Deion Jackson, who's bounced around quite a bit already in a short career. And then you got a couple special teams guys in Eric Gray and Gary Brightwell behind Singletary. But those are special teams caliber guys. So I'm going to sign here Cam Akers to the Giants. I think Devin Singletary is your clear RB1. And then between Cam Akers, Eric Gray, and Gary Brightwell, like I said, Deion Jackson, practice squad guy, caliber running back, I should say, rather. You can figure it out after Singletary. J.K. Dobbins, Cowboys. Now, I'm not opposed. It's not likely, but I'm not opposed to the Cowboys having the Cowboys sign both J.K. Dobbins and Ezekiel Elliott. But in this scenario, I think Zeke probably goes to the Bills and Dobbins probably goes to the Cowboys. But Dobbins is just like Akers, although I think Dobbins is a 10 more talented. I say same situations just like Akers because Akers has been in the league for 4 years, torn his Achilles twice. Dobbins has been in the league for 5 years now, torn his ACL twice. So he needs to go somewhere where he's a downhill runner, and the Cowboys fit that perfectly. Like I said, their running backs right now are Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and Malik Davis. And Malik Davis and Deuce Vaughn are nice change of pace backs. So Zeke probably Bills, more likely. And then Cowboys probably Dobbins. But they could sign both realistically, but I don't think it's very realistic. Kareem Hunt, Buccaneers. Kareem Hunt. Excuse me, I had a frog in my throat or something. Kareem Hunt sorry, I'm trying to get back into it. Kareem Hunt was kind of out there in the wind, if you will, till Nick Chubb got injured and they signed in a pair of Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong there in Cleveland. But obviously, we know he's not going back to Cleveland because the running back room is kind of loaded. Nick Chubb returning to full health, hopefully. Nyheim Hines, Dante Foreman, you still have Pierre Strong, you still have Jerome Ford. I think one of those guys that I ban out, but like you don't need Kareem Hunt. So I think Kareem Hunt will go to the Buccaneers because Rachaad White is kind of a do everything back. He's not the biggest guy, but he can surprisingly run through the tackles. But I like him at outside zone runs, and I do believe he's a dynamic receiver out of the backfield. So I am going to give the Buccaneers Kareem Hunt here. I think with Kareem Hunt, you would have Rachaad White, but behind him right now, you don't have much because behind White, you have Chase Edmonds, Sean Tucker, and Patrick Laird. Laird and Tucker are probably practice squad caliber guys at the most, and Chase Edmonds is a great RB2. So I think a running back room of Rachaad White, Chase Edmonds, Kareem Hunt can be really appealing. Next running back, Rashad Penny, Jaguars, basically literally healthy scratch, inactive, whatever you want to call it. A healthy scratch for basically every single game except like 2 or 3 here and there. The Eagles last year because they had DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott for special teams purposes. They didn't need him. I haven't gone to the Jaguars because I think Travis Etienne, if there's will be looked at as a top 5 back and superstar. I think he's already a star, but like superstar caliber after this next season. Behind him, you have Tank Bigsby and Dearness Johnson. Neither of those guys are RB2s in my opinion. You can sign Rashad Penny, but honestly, I don't know if Penny, Bigsby, or Johnson are RB2. You'll probably have to draft one and maybe even sign another veteran. I don't know. I've kind of given up on Rashad Penny. The Seahawks drafted him in the first round when he was like a third round caliber guy. And what draft was that? 2019. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard. And then Jerick McKinnon, Jets. The reason why him and Clyde are probably leaving the Chiefs is because they have similar play styles. I think Jerick McKinnon is just more consistent and a more veteran version of Cloudbridge there. But he's a nice change of pace back, and he's really effective in the red zone coming out of the backfield within the 10, 5-yard line on those jet sweeps, outside zone handoffs, bubble screens, wheel routes to the end zone, whatever you want. The Jets' current RBs, Breece Hall, Izzy Abanikanda, who's second year, going into year 2 out of Pitt. And then you literally have 2 practice squad caliber guys in Xavier Valade and Hawkes Patrick, who I've barely even heard of. And that's rare because I hear of everybody, but who I've barely even heard of. So I think you need to get a veteran presence in. Even with your superstar back in Breece Hall and really nice RB2 and Izzy Abanikanda, you need a veteran. Breece Hall's only going into year 3. Izzy's only Abanikanda from Pitt only going into year 2. So I think you need a 30, even though he's like 31, 32 or years old. I think he's 32. Jerick McKinnon, that is, you need this guy. He still has some juice. I think he could be a nice change of pace back on third down. And I really like how it's shaping up. He could be a nice RB2/RB3. And I think this would even help Izzy Abanikanda even more. And this is not a Delvin Cook situation. Like Delvin Cook, like no pun intended, but he was cooked. So last year with the Jets and then the Ravens will pass where he got a whole 3 carries. But yeah, I have them going Jerick McKinnon to the Jets to fill out that RB room and add some much needed veteran leadership and experience, if you will. And then wide receiver, there's a few intriguing guys here, some more than others, but Hunter Renfrow, this is an easy, like really clean fit in my opinion. Going to the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers current wide receivers, Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, Darius Davis, Simi Fehoko. Okay. Simi Fehoko is a wide receiver 5, probably slide in there. And then Darius Davis, he catches a few balls here and there as a wide receiver 4/5, but like he's mainly a return guy and kick and punt returns respectively. Excuse me. And then Quentin Johnston, not a fan. Didn't like him coming out of TCU, and he showed nothing. He has very questionable hands. He's kind of a clunky route runner. He's supposed to be a contested catch monster, but he doesn't really win. I just don't like big body guys that's billed as contested catch monsters. I mean, I kind of didn't like Gabe Davis because not kind of I didn't. And then Josh Palmer's the only one I like, but he's like a wide receiver 2/3. He's the wide receiver 1 right now scheduled. So I think you need to sign Hunter Renfrow to be the main slot guy, and you need to draft a guy like Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze, depending which one's there. What Vikings trade up, Chargers trade back, whatever. I would not trade back. I would sign Renfrow and draft a Neighbors, Malik Neighbors, or Harrison if he's somehow there, a pick leader. So, I mean, the only one I like is Josh Palmer, and hopefully Quentin Johnson could put it together. But you need a slot and out. You need like 2 or 3 more, maybe even 4 more legit receivers that I like. Next, Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ. I am going to the Saints. I know he visited with the Dolphins, but that, in my opinion, Daniel said yesterday at the team meetings that they in Florida that, or not team meetings, NFL owners meetings in Florida that they offered him a contract. They're just trying to work out the money, but that doesn't seem like something they want. They want to be a NASCAR style offense. They got Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert on the backfield who are insanely fast. They got Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Braxton Berrios, who are all insanely fast, especially Berrios in the return game and that main slot guy. OBJ isn't like a track team guy, and they want to make their offense a track team, so it doesn't make sense to me why he even visited. I got OBJ going to the Saints because Beckham to the Saints because right now they have Chris Olave as wide receiver 1, Rashid Shaheed as wide receiver 2. Every time I see him, he's making electric plays downfield. But after that, Cedric Wilson is apparently the 3, A.T. Perry is the 4, and then Stanley Morgan's like a 5-6 practice squad receiver. 5/6, I should say rather. Excuse me. But yeah, I think between OBJ and Cedric Wilson, you got your slot there. I think Chris Olave is a really crisp route runner, so he lines up in the slot more times than not as well. But I got OBJ to the Saints, but I don't see any clean fit really. Like I don't love that, but if I had to land on a spot, that's where I would land and choose for OBJ to the Saints. Michael Gallup, Ravens. I never thought Michael Gallup was that good. Like he's okay, but like I don't think he deserved that massive monster 5-year contract. What was it, like 19, 20 million per year? Like 3 years ago that the Cowboys gave him now, and then they cut him 3 years later. So Ravens' current wide receivers are Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. I wouldn't call him a first round bust, but I think this is probably his ceiling. Like I don't think there's any more to hope for or unlock there. And then you got Nelson Aguilar and then Tylan Wallace. He's probably going to be the returner now, I would assume, since Devin Duvernay went to the Jaguars to be their returner in the kick and punt return game, respectively. So I love Zay Flowers, but other than that, I don't love any of these guys. Like I just said, Tylan Wallace will be their main return guy, and then Bateman and Aguilar I don't love. So between Gallup and Aguilar, I guess we have a decent combo of wide receiver 3/4s there. But another one where I just don't really think, like, I don't know, Michael Gallup doesn't do anything to excite me. Tyler Boyd, Steelers. I really don't care that they signed Quez Watkins yesterday, but speaking of Quez Watkins, their wide receiver room is George Pickens, Calvin Austin, who's more of like a gadget guy to begin with. Bubble screens, he can line up in the backfield. You give him jet sweeps, you give him touch passes. Basically, he's electric with the ball in his hands. He's more of a schemed up touches guy. He's not the best route runner, but he's more of a schemed up touches guy. Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, and Denzel Mims, who's just on his 5-year career. I don't know. I think he's a practice squad guy. There's been talks of moving him to tight end before when he was on the Lions. Briefly, the half year he was there, if that. But I George Pickens and Calvin Austin, you need someone else. So Tyler Boyd can be immediately your wide receiver 2. And then Calvin Austin, I really like, but he's a wide receiver 3, schemed up touch guy. You need to get the ball in his hands. He's not really like someone you build your offense around as wide receiver 2. So I think Tyler Boyd to the Steelers. And he went to Penn State, if I'm not, no, did he? I don't know where he went to college, but he grew up in a Pittsburgh area. Like, I think he grew up actually in the city of Pittsburgh, so that would be a homecoming for him and family and whatnot. And it's always a driving force for these guys. Next, Michael Thomas, Patriots. Like Thomas and Gallup are the same to me. Not similar play style. Well, maybe. Not very similar play styles, but like, hopefully you know what I mean. I just don't think that highly of either of them. I got the Patriots here. Like Patriots have like 6 or 7 like Jags. Like that means just a guy like Jags at receiver. Like I can name all the mediocre ones now. Bill Belichick would never take these attitude issues and injury concerns with Michael Thomas, who would never bring him on, but more than maybe with Gerard Mayo as a defensive minded guy. He's more open to kind of it. But like Michael Thomas brings veteran leadership, but that's kind of it. But Patriots' current wide receivers, they cut Devontae Parker and he went to the Eagles. So now it's KJ Osborne, who's literally your wide receiver one right now. Kendrick Bourne coming off a torn ACL. Don't know if he'll be ready for week one. Mario Douglas, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, who was always overdrafted to begin with a couple years ago. Jalen Reagor, who's a return guy at best. And Kayshon Boutte, who is attitude concerns and injury issues. So the only one in like this whole list is Demario Douglas, and KJ Osborne. That's literally it. I think you can sign Michael Thomas, and you desperately need to draft a guy in the second or third round, because I think in the first round with the number 3 overall pick, you're going with Jaden Daniels or Drake May, whoever falls to you, depending on what Washington takes with the Commanders. But I don't know. Might go down to the Patriots. DJ Chark, as I was doing my research, I really love this fit. Like, I think DJ Chark is kind of underappreciated. He's that prototypical X receiver. He can line up on the outside and beat man defense, press man coverage one-on-one. I think a return to the Lions is very likely, and I honestly would love it, because the Lions' current wide receiver group / room is Amon-Ra St. Brown is your wide receiver one, bulk the snaps in the slot. He can go on the outside, but I really love him in the slot. He's a phenomenal route runner. He's just a route technician. He's your do-everything guy. Jameson Williams, who can line up in the backfield, is your speedster, but there's been some attitude concerns there, and I don't know if he fits what the Lions want. Khalifa Raymond, who's just a return guy, and then Donovan Peoples-Jones, who I've kind of given up on, and then Tre'Quan Smith is a practice squad caliber guy. So I feel like you can sign DJ Chark, and he can be your immediately third wide receiver, and your outside receivers can be Jameson Williams and DJ Chark. That's a lot of downfield speed. And then you have your do-everything guy in the slot, route technician / exceptional route runner, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Next, Mecole Hardman. I think like a return. I know a return to the Chiefs is the only option here. He tried to go to the Jets, and now he's beefing with Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Aaron Rodgers. He's apparently gave other teams their plays because apparently he had disdain towards the Jets. Messy situation. Chiefs' current wide receivers are Rashee Rice, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, and Justin Ross. And Justin Ross, there's been hype from every year, but he broke his foot his last year at Clemson, so he went undrafted. So Anyway, I still have hope for Sky Moore, but you need more like proven bodies here. So I have Mecole Hardman back to the Chiefs, and honestly, like he's strictly a return guy anyway. So I don't think they're going to re-sign Richie James. So bring back Mecole Hardman for kick and punt returner, respectively. And then Josh Reynolds, Colts. I won't say I'm shocked, but I'm honestly surprised. Reynolds and DJ Chark, too, for that matter. But really, Josh Reynolds has stuck around this long out there, floated around this long. Michael Pittman Jr. is your alpha wide receiver one. You have Josh Downs, who's kind of your slot, shifty route runner guy. Alec Pierce, who I think is upgradable. And then Ashton Dulin, who you're probably going to cut around camp time. DJ Montgomery, kind of a running back wide receiver hybrid, and then Juwan Winfrey, and who is a practice squad caliber guy. So I think between Josh Reynolds and Alec Pierce, you can find your wide receiver 3 there. Maybe if you sign Josh Reynolds, you trade Alec Pierce for a late day 3 pick. That's what I would do. Maybe a 6th or 7th round pick, 5th if you can get it, but probably 6th or 7th more likely. Tight end, we only have 2 here. So Logan Thomas, who was cut by the Commanders, Broncos. Pretty clean fit here because the Broncos' current tight ends are Greg Dulcich, Adam Troutman, and Lucas Kroll, who's more for blocking purposes. He's a fine tight end 3. Kind of like how Quentin Morris is a fine tight end 3 for the Bills. I relate to the Bills guy. Bills fan, obviously, but I feel like you need some veteran infusion here. That's a lot of youth with Greg Dulcich going into year 3 and Adam Troutman going into year 4. And Sean Payton loves Adam Troutman, but he's not really a high tools, high character guy, but like high tools, high athleticism guy. And Greg Dulcich does have a lot of athleticism, but every time I look up, he's tweaking his hamstring, goes on IR. He spent 2 different two different stints on IR this past year for the Broncos for the Broncos there. So I got Logan Thomas, and he could probably be your tight end one, and then mentor Greg Dulcich, and then Greg Dulcich can hopefully, get going. And then second and only last tight end year, I got CJ Uzama. I haven't gone back to the Bengals. For the Jets, he was kind of promising his first year at the Jets, but he spent 2 years. Did he spend 2 years there? I think he spent 2 or 3 years, but they have Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Rucker, probably going to draft Brock Bowers, or at least an offensive weapon or a move tight end in Brock Bowers. So Bengals' current tight ends are Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, and Drew Sample. Between Mike Gesicki and CJ Uzama, you can probably get a low end, decent enough starting tight end. And then Drew Sample and Tanner Hudson are like tight end 2 and 3s, respectively. So, eh. And then, but I don't think, you know, Uzama would succeed anywhere else but the Bengals with a reunion there. Offensive tackle, David Bakhtiari. I haven't gone to the Ravens to most likely play left tackle because the Ravens' current starting tackle duo scheduled is Ronnie Stanley at left tackle and then Daniel Falele at right tackle. Yeah, Daniel Falele is like a tree trunk. He's like 6'8", 350 pounds, 340, pushing 3. I think he is around 350 actually. So 6'8", 350 pounds. I think you can. The problem is though, David Bakhtiari is a former All-Pro left tackle, and Ronnie Stanley is an All-Pro left tackle, like just a year ago, I believe. So, I mean, maybe you can move Ronnie Stanley to right side to be your starting right tackle, and then you can have David Bakhtiari as your starting left tackle and Daniel Falele as your swing tackle if either of those guys get injured, which we know David Bakhtiari, unfortunately, at this point, it's more likely than not that he gets injured. So Falele can be your swing tackle. That's how I would parse it out. Charles Leno, I am going to the Patriots. This just makes sense. They have a lot of young offensive linemen, and Charles Leno's a nice veteran because the Patriots' current starting tackle duo, it's looking rough. Connor McDermott, left tackle, Chuks Okorafor, right tackle, who they picked up once the Steelers cut him, and like a week or two later, they signed him. I think Chuks Okorafor is a fine, good enough right tackle, but Connor McDermott can't be left tackle. We can't go to war with that. We ain't doing that. So as much as I don't like the Patriots, Charles Leno sliding in at left tackle over Connor McDermott seems fine to me. And just Pete, Titans. He has guard tackle versatility, but he also has huge injury concerns, and he's 30. He's missed a lot of games over his career. Titans current starting right side of their offense line. So I think either of these spots are openings to upgrade over, and Andrews Pete could slide in. Daniel Brunskill, right guard. Dylan Radunes at right tackle, who I still have hope for going into year 4. And he came from a small school to begin with in North Dakota State. Can't believe I remember that. But I think Pete is a pretty decent, sizable upgrade, and just Pete, that is, over Daniel Brunskill at right guard. So that's where I would look him to slide in. And I still have hope for Dylan Radunes at right tackle, but it's at least worth mentioning that he can play guard and tackle. He has that versatility. Another guy that has the versatility is Andre Dillard. He could play guard or tackle with versatility, and I have him going to the Cowboys. Potential Cowboys offensive line openings for Dillard to slide in and play. TJ Bass is Dallas's currently scheduled left guard, and Terrence Steele is their currently scheduled right tackle. I thought 2 years ago Steele played maybe not really well, but played I would say really well. And then last year it took a step down. But TJ Bass can't be our left guard here. So I think Dillard would slide in, and then TJ Bass can come off the bench. That's more where he's suited. So Dillard can be the left guard, but is mentioning if they want to upgrade over Terrence Steele at right tackle. I still think they need to draft an offensive lineman, most likely in the first round with their 24th overall pick, like Jackson Powers Johnson, that center from Oregon, because we'll get to a center in a minute that I think they could realistically sign. Mekhi Becton, Chiefs. This guy, he's obviously not going back to the Jets because the Jets have their tackle duo on Tyron Smith at left tackle and Morgan Moses at right tackle, respectively, who they traded for from the Ravens. Baltimore from the Ravens, excuse me. But yeah, Mekhi Becton on the Chiefs. I think the Super Bowl, the experience there will help him. Chiefs' current starting left tackle is Wanya Morris. He's only going in year 2 out of Oklahoma. I think Morris and Becton are probably the same, even though Becton has a few more years of experience. but like he's either been injured or he's had weight concerns. He showed up to camp overweight a couple times, attitude issues. I don't think him and Robert Saleh got along necessarily. So I think left tackle you have Wanya Morris and Mekhi Becton battled out, and then whoever if Becton loses that, maybe you in camp you because teams are always looking for offensive linemen. You swap him for a late, day 3 pick in 2025 because I wouldn't give up on Morris and move on with life. So, yeah, back to the Chiefs though for now. Down last offensive tackle, and then we'll get an interior offensive line with guards and a couple centers at the end. I have Donovan Smith going to the Commanders, who funny enough was actually the Chiefs starting left tackle last year, and their right tackle is Jawan Taylor. But Commanders' current starting left tackle is Cornelius Lucas, and then Braden Daniels is the backup left tackle scheduled. But we're not going to war with Cornelius Lucas as a starting left tackle, and especially with Jaden Daniels or Drake May, who 99.9% sure they're taking a QB number 2 overall. I know yesterday it said JJ McCarthy. His odds have jumped up, but no, we're not. No. You need protection at all 5 spots, but especially tackle with if it's an athletic quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who's likely, in my opinion, mocked him a lot there. But Donovan Smith, I think, is a media upgrade over Cornelius Lucas for Washington at left tackle. Interior offensive line, we'll start with guards, and we got, like I said a minute ago, we got a couple centers to end off with. So, interior offensive line, Laken Tomlinson, yeah, he was in the Jets for 2 years, but didn't look too good. Funny enough, though, he was the only one that stayed healthy like all the time. Never really got nicked up, and that's rare. I'm not trying to be rude because I'm a Bills fan, AFC East division rival, but it's rare in New York for Jets offensive linemen to stay healthy. Elijah Tucker, Mekhi Becton constantly getting injured, Dwayne Brown constantly getting injured when they had him a couple of years ago. I think even last year they had him too. But Laken Tomlinson back to the 49ers. Let me lay this out for you. 49ers current starting interior offensive line. They have Aaron Banks at left guard. I think you keep that as it is. Now, here's where I would shift around. You have Jake Brendel at center and John Feliciano at right guard. And Spencer Burford is his direct backup. I would move Brendel to bench and put John Feliciano at center because apparently he was cut by the Bills and he wanted to be released because he wanted to play center, but the Bills had him playing right guard and they got replaced by Ryan Bates. Whatever. And then Ryan Bates is gone now, so I think you move Jake Brendel to the bench and then have move John Feliciano at center and have Laken Tomlinson reunion with him and slide him in there at right guard. I think that's a really potent offensive line. Really, really good. Let's not forget Trent Williams at left tackle. And then Cody Whitehair. I am going to the Eagles. This is a really perfect fit, in my opinion, too. Eagles' current starting left. So their offensive line, I memorized this. Their offensive line from left to right is like insane. All pros. At left tackle, you have at left tackle, let's see. At left tackle, you have Jordan Mailata. At left guard, you have who do they have? At left tackle, you have Jordan Mailata. Left guard, I don't know why I can't think of this right now. And then at center, you have Jason Kelsey retired, so you have Cam Jurgens. And then at right tackle, you have Lane Johnson. So, and then their currently scheduled right guard is Tyler Steen. Oh, left guard is Landon Dickerson, who just gave the mega contract extension due for 4 years, whatever million. I can't remember. Sorry. Right guard, Tyler Steen, year 2 out of Alabama. He's a 4th-round pick. What do you really expect from him? Not very much premium investment. So Cody Whitehair is an immediate upgrade over Tyler Steen at right guard. Dalton Risner, Vikings. I don't see, he didn't sign with the Vikings till coming off his first 4 years in the league with the Broncos. He didn't sign it with the Vikings till June last year. I think it's the same thing this year, but eventually June, July, somewhere around there, he'll say, hey, I need to resign with the Vikings, and they'll resign him because the Vikings' current starting left guard without him is Henry Bird. Never even heard of the guy. Don't know who that is. Risner is a perfect re-signing there. Connor Williams, Cowboys. Now, maybe they don't want to do this because they knew Williams' injury concerns when they had him to start his career. But I think if you do this, the Cowboys' current starting center is Brock Hoffman. I think you can sign Connor Williams and still draft a center like Jackson Powers Johnson at 24. And maybe because of that, you start Powers Johnson out guard. And maybe after a year or two, let's say a year, because the Connor Williams is only a 1-year deal, you move Powers Johnson back to his natural college position at Oregon at center. but I would look out for a reunion here. Connor Williams back to the Cowboys. Brian Allen, I got Cardinals. He's still maybe not high quality like he used to be, but he's still quality. There's much worse centers out there. He's still a quality center in this league. And Cardinals' current starting center is Hayolti Froholt. Yeah, I struggle saying the name because I've never heard of him. Hayolti Froholt. Apparently, it's how you say it. Probably not. I just butchered that probably. But is their starting center? So I think they need Brian Allen. I mean, I've never even heard of that guy. Defensive end. This is where there's a lot more guys. I think there's a lot of more intriguing guys on defense than offense, personally, in my opinion. Just me personally, again. But defensive end, I got Emmanuel Ogbah to the Vikings. So the Vikings' current edge group, I really love their top two in Jonathan Grenard, even though they might have overpaid by a few million here and there. And then Andrew Van Ginkel. And then at their depth after that is Javon Bullard and Jihad Ward, who literally hasn't done anything in the NFL. So he's more of a rotational guy, fourth, fifth defensive end. I think Jonathan Bullard is a perfect third defensive end, but if you can get Jonathan Bullard as your fourth defensive end, that would be really great. And then Emmanuel Ogbah, his best years in Miami. Let's connect the dots here. His best years in Miami were with Brian Flores as the head coach. Now Brian Flores is the defensive court. Sorry, I'm just. Okay, anyway. Sorry, I was reading a thing from Ian Rappaport. I was just not make sure no news breaking here during the video. Back to what I was saying though, Flores now defensive coordinator in Minnesota. When Flores was the head coach in Miami, Ogbah has best years. I think a top three, and you know how much Brian Flores absolutely loves to play man coverage and blitz the hell out of his pass rushers over there off the edge. So I think a top three of Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Emmanuel Ogbah, also reuniting Van Ginkel and Ogbah's former Miami teammates, would be awesome. Carl Lawson, Bills. Bills' current edge group is Greg Rousseau, Von Miller, AJ Epinesa, Casey Toohill, and Kingsley Jonathan. I think Toohill and Jonathan are fringe roster guys at best, maybe fifth, sixth defensive ends, something like that. And then Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa are the only ones I trust right now, but I don't think AJ Epinesa is like a full-time starter, bulk of the snaps guy. And then Von Miller, like, what are you supposed to do? I don't know what the hell that guy's supposed to be. So Carl Lawson, I need a veteran presence in here other than Von Miller. I think Carl Lawson can give you that as your third defensive end, and you probably have a starting defensive end between Carl Lawson and AJ Epinesa. He was just constantly being replaced in New York. There's been talks of Jadeveon Clowney maybe signing there. They lost Bryce Huff, yeah, but he was there last year, and to the Eagles. But they had drafted Jermaine Johnson in the first round 2 years ago. They drafted Will McDonald, even though I think it was a severe overdrafting of him in the mid-first round last year. So Carl Lawson just fell out of favor there, and him and Robert Saleh didn't get along. I don't think so. I think the Bills, I need another veteran presence other than Von Miller. I think that would be really good for both parties involved. Yannick Ngakoue, I haven't returned the Ravens. At one point in time for a year, he was on the Ravens. This guy's surprisingly been on like 3 or 4 teams in his career. I don't know why he keeps bouncing around. He every year he's had great production. Teams pay for sacks, but like he didn't really have many sacks last year. But that was the Bears, who had no edge help, no interior help, nothing. So I think going to the Ravens, because the Ravens' current edge group is Odafe Owe, David Ajabo, Tavius Robinson, and Brent Urban, who's your veteran presence. But I think between Ngakoue could be the immediate starter over Owe, and then David Ajabo is still developing as that third pass rusher off the edge. Calais Campbell, Falcons, I think he can play in the edge and the interior. As he's gotten older, it's probably more in the edge, but he's 38 years old. I think it's either retire or resign with the Falcons. But let's just say he does resign with the Falcons. The Falcons' current edge group is Arnold Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone, and Zach Harrison, second year out of Ohio State, but he was like a fourth-round pick. What do you really expect? I like Zach Harrison, but the only one I really love, like really highly like, is Arnold Ebiketie there. And then Falcons' current defensive tackle group on the interior is Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, and Contavious Street. So they got a much better defensive tackle group than defensive end group. But like Calais Campbell and Arnold Ebiketie, and then I still think you need to draft, like literally just draft Dallas Turner at number 8 overall, and you'll be fine. but I think it's either retire or going back to the Falcons for Calais Campbell. I don't think at this point he's really like going anywhere else. Now, a guy that I do think is going to leave Atlanta and still has a little bit more juice in him is Bud Dupree of the Lions off the edge. Lions' current group is Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, James Houston, Josh Pascal, and John Kaminsky. And John Kaminsky's just stuck around there for a number of years. I don't know why, but they just love re-signing him and love having him. So, um, I think an edge rotation of Aiden Hutchinson, and then around him you have Marcus Davenport, James Houston, Josh Pascal in the scenario of veteran presence like Bud Dupree, who can lead James Houston, Josh Pascal. I mean, that's really, really potent off the edge. And then Jadeveon Clowney, I'm going with the kind of chalk answer here, but he did visit the Dolphins. Well, actually, I think he visited the Jets and the Panthers. He didn't visit the Dolphins yet. But the Dolphins' current edge group is Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and Shaq Barrett. The thing with Phillips Chubb is Phillips tore his ACL or tore his Achilles on Thanksgiving in November, and then Bradley Chubb tore his Achilles towards the end of the year in one of the early games in December. So Shaq Barrett probably going to be the only healthy one. Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, respectively, are very likely PUP/IR candidates. So in that scenario, they would miss the first 4 weeks of the season by requirement. So I think Shaq Barrett and Jadeveon Clowney can get you by. And then, but that's like really, really nice off the edge when Phillips and Chubb come back. You have Phillips, Chubb, Shaq Barrett, Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney is a prime example of he just signed 1-year deals off the edge. Everyone just keeps producing. 1 year produces, go to another team. 1 year deal produces, go to another team. Kind of like a cycle. I mean, he doesn't really stick around anywhere. He kind of bounces around, but wherever he goes on 1 year cheap deals, he produces every year. So I think the Dolphins here. And then Mike Dana, Broncos. I think this guy's a stud, but Broncos' current edge group is Zach Allen, Baron Browning, Jonathan Cooper, Nick Benito, and Thomas Incoom. Only going in a year or two though out of Central Michigan. Can't believe I know that too. So it's clearly a small school, but Zach Allen and Baron Browning, Mike Dana will be a third defensive end, but that's an awesome top three. And then Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito are kind of rotational guys anyway. Like I said, Thomas Incoom is a practice squad caliber pass rusher. Justin Houston Saints. I just feel like they need a veteran presence, including I feel like they need a veteran. I feel like they need a veteran presence off the edge, like other than just Cam Jordan. So you have Cam Jordan, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Peyton Turner, and Isaiah Foskey. Turner has developed really nicely. Isaiah Foskey didn't show much year one. Carl Granderson is a very nice defensive end 3. Chase Young, I don't know what they're doing there. He got overpaid. They gave him 1 year, $13 million. Like, he's not a bust, but like he's on his third team in 4 years. It started when he didn't get his third team in what? Going into year 5 in the NFL. So third team in 5 years, I guess, technically. It all started when he didn't get his 5th-year option picked up by the Commanders, and they traded him and Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat with the Bears, big extension there. Chase Young was on the 49ers for the half year, but he had effort issues, had a second Super Bowl, maybe attitude concerns. Apparently, he's having surgery now. I just don't know what the Saints are doing with their edge group. So I think you infuse Justin Houston to, kind of mentor Chase Young along. Defensive tackle, I got Tyler Tart the Giants, and this is literally the only defensive tackle that I care about left in the market. Saints' current defensive tackle group, or Giants, excuse me. I'm going to the Giants Tyler Tart. Dexter Lawrence is an elite nose tackle, and then Raheem Nunez Roaches, and that's literally it. So we need bodies here. We need like 2 or 3 at least more bodies. And then Tyler Tart, I think, is an upgrade over Raheem Nunez Roaches. It's a heck of a name. Raheem Nunez Roaches. So next to Dexter Lawrence, he'll free up Dexter Lawrence even more. And Dexter Lawrence can surprisingly rush the passer very, very well for a big hulking nose tackle. Linebacker Isaiah Simmons. I'm going to the Patriots because I think Gerard Mayo would love a guy like this. They love to move guys around. They love hybrid defenders. They got Kyle Duggar, who's safety and can come up to the box and hit some people if you need him to at linebacker. And then you got Martin Mapu, who's a linebacker/safety hybrid. And then you got Isaiah Simmons, who could play slot corner. safety, and linebacker hybrid, all 3-in-1 package, if you will. So obviously, Simmons going to Patriots because Patriots' current linebacker group is Marte Mapu, what I talked about as that linebacker safety hybrid, excuse me. You have Juwan Bentley as that veteran presence, and then you have Sione Takitaki and Jelani Tavai, more special teams players, both of them respectively. Then Christian Ellis, who's more of a, certain package / practice guy caliber guy. So I think you need another hybrid player like Isaiah Simmons, and I love their hybrid players over there. Bill Belichick now moving to Gerard Mayo. So Isaiah Simmons, the Patriots, is a good fit. Shaq Leonard, Cowboys. I'm leaning towards this guy retiring. Maybe the Cowboys don't. I don't think he goes back to the Eagles because Devin White's kind of playing his role now there. They did lose. No, wait, never mind. I was gonna say Nicholas Moore to the Bills, but he was on there 2 years ago with the Bears this past year. So Shaq Leonard, I have him going to the Cowboys when he initially got released by the Colts in November last year. First of all, I was shocked, but second of all, the Cowboys were heavily mentioned. I think he even visited the Cowboys before he ultimately visited the Eagles and chose to sign with the Eagles, of course, obviously. But I have him going to the Cowboys, but I'm leaning towards retirement. But let's say he keeps playing. Maybe the Cowboys don't want to do this though, because they just saw what neck injuries can do to a player like Leighton Vander Esch and what shoulder injuries are doing and neck injuries are doing to Shaq Leonard. But the Cowboys' current linebacker group was Eric Kendricks, Damone Clark, Marquise Bell, who's 205 pounds playing linebacker. I don't think he's going to play much linebacker without Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn had him playing linebacker and safety, but he can't really hit. He's good in coverage, but he can't, he's 205 pounds. He can't really come up to the box and, get a guy in the ground. So I think Jeremy Chin will be that guy for Dan Quinn in Washington with the Commanders, now he's head coach. And then DeMarvion Overshown, who missed his whole rookie year with a torn ACL. So really, this is his rookie year, technically year 2, but you know what I mean. But I think the linebacker core of Eric Kendricks, Damone Clark, Marquise Bell, I think will go back to bulk safety, and then DeMarvion Overshown, and then you infuse Shaq Leonard. I'm leaning towards retirement though, but if he didn't retire, I guess Cowboys would be where he goes in this scenario, in my prediction here. And then corner, there's quite a few attractive corners out there. Still, Xavier Howard, Texans. Texans, Vikings, Lions. Those 3 teams stand out. Raiders maybe, but I haven't gone to Texans because his hometown is Houston, so that just makes sense right there. But Texans' current corner room, Derek Stingley Jr., and then they have a couple busts. Yeah, I'm calling them busts. Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson, and then they have a special teams player in Miles Bryant and Desmond King, who's also a special teams player for the kick and return game. So yeah, really, Derek Stingley Jr., and then what else? If you haven't brought back Steven Nelson, who's 31 years old by now, who I've been going somewhere else, by the way, you're not going to bring him back. So I think Xavier Howard is probably slightly better than Steven Nelson. They're both kind of the same age. So I think opposite Derek Stingley Jr., then you have Jalen Pitre at center, Jalen Pitre at safety, Jimmy Ward is your other safety, and then your outside corners can be Derek Stingley Jr., and in this scenario, in my prediction, Xavier Howard going to the Texans to make that tandem. Dory Jackson, Chiefs. The more I thought about it, this made more sense. At first, I didn't love it, but now I think it makes a ton of sense. Chiefs' current corner group is Trent McDuffie, but he's a slot corner. I shouldn't say but, he's a slot corner. He's awesome as a slot corner. And then your current schedule, you have Nick Jones for literally special teams purposes, and he was a healthy scratch most games last year anyway. But your current outside corners, like I said, McDuffie in the slot, are Justin Watson and Josh Williams, Jalen Watson, excuse me. Justin Watson's the receiver. Jalen Watson, Josh Williams on the outside starting corners scheduled right now. And they're both undrafted free agents, and they're both going to year 2 or 3, I think. But you need a veteran presence here. Even Trent McDuffie isn't a veteran. So I think your outside corners can be Jalen Watson / Josh Williams, and Dory Jackson is the CB2 and Trent McDuffie in the slot. And then you can work that out. And Nick Jones are special teams. Stephon Gilmore. I even going back to the Patriots. I don't really see a ton of fits around the league for him. I'm not really surprised that he's 33. He's floating out here this long. But Patriots' current corner group, Jonathan Jones, who I think is a stellar slot corner. And then Christian Gonzalez is your clear CB1 there. Marcus Jones, who sometimes plays offense because they don't have weapons on offense and they need a jolt. I know I know he plays offense because a couple years ago, yeah, the Bills won, but a couple years ago, they opened the game with Marcus Jones giving him a little screen pass, and he takes it 70 yards to the house just a couple years ago. And then Sean Wade, who's more of a slot guy, slot back up to Jonathan Jones. And then Marco Wilson, Alex Austin, and Isaiah Bolden are practice squad caliber guys, if that. I'll say practice squad at the very least. So you need another outside corner opposite Christian Gonzalez. I think a reunion with Gilmore. I just don't think Gilmore kind of jived with Bill Belichick when he left there, but now that's Jerod Mayo. He'll probably like that. So I have Gilmore going back to the Patriots from the Cowboys last year. Steven Nelson, Lions. This is a seamless fit. Honestly, this might be one of my favorite predictions of this entire video that I'm doing. Lions' current corner group, CB group, is Carlton Davis, Emmanuel Mosley, Amik Robertson, who's a slot and probably a backup slot, because Brian Branch can play slot and box and safety. And then Khalil Dorsey, who's an excellent special teamer, but that's all he is, a special teamer. And then, so Carlton Davis CB1, but since you released Cam Sutton because of, he's wanted by, if you didn't hear, he's wanted by Florida police for a few weeks now. It was revealed late last week, and they didn't waste any time. Less than 24 hours later, you're gone. So, which I'm glad they did that. But Emmanuel Mosley, coming off torn ACL, I just feel bad for him. He's always, I feel like every year he tears ACL, unfortunately. But you need someone opposite Carlton Davis. And I feel like Emmanuel Mosley can move to the slot, and then Steven Nelson or Carlton Davis in this scenario can be your outside corners. Ahkello Witherspoon, this is pretty straightforward. I got him going to the Rams. I like how the Rams secondary is shaping up. They signed Cam Curl. Quentin Lake was a nice undrafted free agent going into year 2. Darius Williams is your CB1 there. Speaking of that, the current corner group is Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, who's more of a slot, Darian Kendrick, and Trey Tomlinson. I like Trey Tomlinson. Fun fact, he's the nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson. So I really like Trey Tomlinson coming out of TCU, but he's only going into year 2. Yeah, he's only going into year 2. So, and Darian Kendrick, not a big investment there. So I think your two outside corners would be Darius Williams and Ahkello Witherspoon, because he wasn't very good in the 49ers to start his career. Once he was traded to the Seahawks, he wasn't very good then. The little stint, I think he was at the Steelers in Pittsburgh, he was very good then. He kind of broke out, if you will, mini breakout last year with the Rams. So I think his only option really is to return there. Next, at safety, we got quite a few safeties still available. Jamal Adams to the Giants. I don't think he's very good anymore, but some of you might, so it's worth acknowledging. Giants' current safety group is Jalen Mills, who's kind of a hybrid. He started his career with New England corner, but now he's 30, 31 years old. He's shifted to safety. Dane Belton, Jason Pinnock, and Javarius Owens. Javarius Owens is special teams guy, same with Pinnock. I mean, Jalen Mills and Adams, I guess, is an okay safety duo, but you need a veteran body there. So, and Adams fits that bill perfectly. Justin Simmons, Eagles. I know they signed CJ Gardner-Johnson, but after that, Reed Blankenship, who's a slot corner guy anyway, kind of a hybrid tweener, if you will, and a special teams guy. Sidney Brown, I think, would be a perfect third safety in the scenario that you have CJ Gardner-Johnson, Justin Simmons is that's honestly an elite safety duo. I feel like CJ Gardner-Johnson doesn't get enough respect and appreciation around the league. And he's versatile. He can play slot corner and safety. And he's really hard hitting too, and he's really good in coverage. Eddie Jackson, Jets. I couldn't find really a good fit here, but I guess this is the best one. Jets' current safety group is Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, and Jarek Bernard-Converse, who's like a practice squad guy or a fourth safety ideally. And then Chuck Clark, okay, but Tony Adams, okay. You need an actual dude here. I think Eddie Jackson can be that dude for you. So yeah, they're not going to re-sign Ashton Davis. I mean, if they haven't done it now, they ain't doing it. And then Jordan Whitehead went back to the Bucks where he started his career. So you need to upgrade over Chuck Clark and Tony Adams. I really like Chuck Clark, so maybe you need to upgrade over Tony Adams. I know you do. So Eddie Jackson, Chuck Clark is a pretty decent enough safety duo in that scenario. Quandre Diggs, I couldn't find a perfect fit for one I really like either. But Colts, because Colts' current safety group is Nick Cross, going in year 3 out of Malin. Ronnie Harrison, who I think is a perfect third safety. Rodney Thomas and Daniel Scott. Daniel Scott missed his whole rookie year out of Cale with a torn ACL. And Rodney Thomas is a third Ryan Thomas, a special teams guy, and like I said, Ronnie Harrison for third safety. So you need Nick Cross is only going to year 3 Adam Allen. You need a veteran presence here. And honestly, another second starting safety opposite Nick Cross, with him in tandem, I should say, rather. So Quandre Diggs, I got to the Colts. Next, Marcus May. Falcons, I couldn't, like, Marcus May, I kind of forgot not existed, but like he was really good when he was in the Jets. And then after that, once he signed with the Saints the last 2 years, like I haven't really heard of him. But Falcons' current safety group is Jesse Bates, DeMarco Hellams, going into year 2 out of Alabama, and Richie Grant, who's always been a nice, steady veteran presence his whole career. But I got Marcus May pairing up as that other starting safety with Jesse Bates. So, yeah. Next, Jaron Curse. I got Cardinals. That seemed kind of a weird fit, but hear me out. Cardinals' current safety group is Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson. And you know how much Jonathan Gannon loves his safeties over there. So you need depth. Like, Jaron Curse is a perfect third safety. He was a perfect third safety with the Cowboys behind Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. And then for the Cowboys, Marquise Bell's probably going to be that third safety now. So I don't think, Jaron Curse is going back, but you need a third safety on Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson. So Jaron Curse is perfect for that. Then Ashton Davis, Saints current safety group: Tyrann Mathieu, Jordan Howden, going to year 2 out of Minnesota, Jonathan Abram, who's a special teams guy, and is a first-round bust, J.T. Gray and Ugo Amadi, who's a slot corner anyway / practice squad caliber guy. Same with J.T. Gray, practice squad caliber guy, maybe special teams here and there sprinkled in. I like Ashton Davis. I don't know if he's starting caliber safety in this league yet, but he's really good on special teams, covering kicks and punts. He can return it for you, but special teams is the name of the game with him. So yeah, you need someone outside Tyrann Mathieu. I like Jordan Howden a little, but Julian Blackmon, Titans. I was real big in the Bills would sign him, but they signed Mike Edwards. I don't think they're done at safety, but they're not going to get a high-end safety like this anymore. So Titans' current safety group, it's 2 people: Amani Hooker and Elijah Molden, who's really coming out of Washington. He's really a corner. So let's just say the Titans get Julian Blackmon here. The 2 starting safeties are Amani Hooker and Julian Blackmon. And then their 2 outside corners are Chidobe Awuzie and L'Jarius Sneed. And you can move Awuzie's outside / slot corner / nickel. And then as your true slot corner, though, you have Roger McCreary starting there, who going into year 3 out of Auburn. I would have rather had him over Kyrie Irving, to be honest, the Bills. And then Caleb Farley can hopefully put all together. So that's a really damn good secondary there that I just laid out. Next, John. I promise. I know this video is kind of dragging a bit longer, but this last one. Sorry, I said I had 45 plus names. So John Johnson, Raiders. Current Raiders safety group is Marcus Epps and Trayvon Moehrig. Trayvon Moehrig is going into year 4, and he's not very athletic anyway on the back end. Marcus Epps isn't either, so you need some athleticism. I just appreciate John Johnson over his career, nice veteran presence. So anyway, there you go. We just go through one quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, all the way, and we ended with safety here with John Johnson. Reminder, going to the Raiders, because all the safeties right now they have are Marcus Epps and Trayvon Moehrig, who are low athleticism guys. And yeah, anyway, guys, thank you for listening to the video today. Of course, you can find every week on this YouTube channel or Spotify or Apple the official Around the Slice podcast, and I will be ramping up videos on this YouTube channel. Like, I'm starting to ramp up with the NCAA tournament going on right now and rolling along. I'm gonna, tomorrow being Wednesday, today being Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to make my prediction for a Sweet 16 update with the second chance bracket and the ESPN Tournament Challenge app. Look out for that. And NBA playoffs are starting in a few weeks. Play-in and then playoffs, I should say, rather. So look out for that. I'm just really excited growing this YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe to these videos and the Around the Slice podcast every week. And I will see you on the podcast or next video, wherever and whenever that may be. Thank you for the continued support. I hope you enjoyed me looking at the best available free agents and trying to predict. I assume I'll get a good amount of these right, but obviously, I'm not some insider, so I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the support. Bye.